Hey, I'm happy to be here. Today we will have a lecture on cracking the code review. So I'm Stella. I'm a software team leader at Checkpoint, and I have 10 years of experience developing from users' point of view. And creation out of nothing is my real love. And as you can see, running is my second love. So let me start by telling you about an experience I had that verified my initial thoughts about how code reviews should be conducted. It started with a found security bug, and one of my colleagues was working on a fix. I guess you all know how urgent it is to provide a security patch. It should be as soon as possible. So we had reached the code review stage, and the ETA was breathing down our necks. So to speed up the code review process and not neglect the quality, we concluded the two team members will review the code. At this point, my colleague and I started to review the security patch separately. I would like to ask you to think, what would you do as a reviewer at this point? So the most common way to review code, no matter the tool you are using, is to have a diff between the code to be committed and the base version. Some teams prefer to review every change merged into the main branch and go over the files one by one, while others will have a triviality threshold under which a review is not required. A strict code review, going file by file, is perceived as the safe and the correct way to review, as you are going through every single change, but that's not absolutely true. If I have to review this diff strictly, I will start by going to the kitchen and grabbing a cup of coffee. So by reviewing code strictly, you do go over all the diff, but it can lead you to feel overwhelmed and not to follow the code flow and miss critical pitfalls, bugs, and design problems that can cause to low standard code. And we all know what low code standard can lead to. The code can be hard to be maintained. It can lead to spaghetti code and other evils, you know. So, do you know this feeling? You can't see the forest for the trees. Today, we today we will try to avoid this feeling when we approach our next code review. So, I would like to offer you another approach to review code. I call it the top-down methodology. What does it mean to review code top-down? The top-down methodology means that review should start from the highest level of the bug or the feature you're reviewing. So what is the highest level? As a reviewer, when we approach a review starting at the highest level, we must start with ourselves and prepare for the review. When you know what you are going to review and have not yet seen the solution, at this point you can think of your own solution objectively. With your own solution in mind, you have a better perspective and a comparison point while reviewing. This is how I started to review the security patch. I had my own solution in my mind. So the next step at the top-down review is the test. I call it TDD from code review perspective. As in medicine, we don't skip on tests. We cannot skip on them at the code review, whether they are code written tests or unit tests made manually by the author. By starting from the test, you will actually understand exactly what you are reviewing. As you are seeing the usage of the new code or the bug fix, you will be able to check if the feature was tested properly, including edge cases, and compare it to the solution you would do. If the tests were not appropriately made, there is no point in continuing with the review till test completion. Skipping on reviewing the test has a huge cost in case of bug discovery in production, much more than reviewing them at this stage. The security fix I review, I started the review with the unit test checking that the patch indeed fixed the bug, which was found to be true. But I discovered that other flows that worked properly before the fix were not working well, what we call degradation. This was super productive for all of us, the author, me, and the other reviewer, as it was a quick iteration, and the fix author continued to work on the patch. So without wasting time reviewing the code itself, we gain a quick iteration and keep on high product quality. The next to be reviewed are documentation and UI or UX. Yes, documentation must be reviewed. Actually, I'm not sure if it should be after or before the test review, and it doesn't really matter. What matters is that it will be earlier at the review. By reviewing the documentation initially, you will have the chance to read the documentation from the user's perspective and without your thoughts being dirty with the written solution. And about the UI and UX, if there exists, check that all fit to the feature requirements. There is no point in reviewing the code before making sure that the user interface is made as designed. Next to continue with is the code link points. Yes, we're at the coding stage, and yet hold the horses. We start with the link points in the code. So what are the link points? Code link points are old code parts that have changed and use the new code. Based on the linking points, you can review first that the logic of the old flows was not changed without me. And second, and more important, you can review the new code usages and to check to review the new code objectively without seeing the new logic, only the usages. And to ask yourself, does it serve the purpose? Are APIs well defined and intuitive to use? Are best practices implemented? A simple technique to start with the code link points is to start with the existing files, not with the new files to be committed. In this way, you follow the code flow. And actually, we all do this while coding. So why not do it when we're reviewing code? And of course, you'd better be familiar with the code and the flow you are going to review, as you don't want to be a rubber stamp. You got the idea. There is no point to continue with the review if there are a bunch of comments at this stage. When I reviewed the code link points at the security fix, I found APIs that were not defined properly in terms of encapsulation and more comments on redundant dependencies that I found. After reviewing the link points at this iteration, my other colleague was still reviewing the code. And as I found lots of comments, I didn't find it reasonable to continue with the review. So we set a meeting, me, the author, and the other reviewer, to go through my comments. And while we are doing it, we agreed on required changes in the interfaces that will cause the new code implementation changes. And remember, at this stage, I didn't review the new code yet. The other reviewer took a different approach to review. He started with a new code that contained new classes, functions, and new logic. In our meeting, we found out that his review is not relevant at all, as following my comments, the implementation is going to be changed. So this was really mind blowing. This was really mind blowing for all of us. As with different approaches to review code, we shortened the review iteration and we gained an advantage with the ETA. So it was proof for us that with going top down, we gain productivity. We can discover problem at an early stage in the review, and we create a quick iteration of review and fixes. Second, we scale up code standards. And last, we improved stability as we made sure that the feature is well tested. So after all of the others have been reviewed, it is the time to review the new code to be committed. From here, you know the job. Do you see a potential for useful abstraction or code reuse when possible? No redundant dependencies. So I know it may sound overkill and hassle, but if you think about it, you either way are going over all the diff. Then why not do it? Why not do it effectively? So let's sum it with 5 steps. First is you. Come prepared for the review. Know what it is about. Think about your own solution in advance. Second are the tests. Go over the test. Does the new code serve its purpose? Were edge cases tested? And after it, go to the documentation and UI and UX. Take the opportunity to see things from the user's point of view. It is your time to review the fix in objective way. After it, it is the time to review the existing flow that use the new code and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You are making sure the current flow logic is correct and the usages of the new code are making sense. And last is the new code. Now you are ready to get the job done. So when you approach your next code review, keep the top-down methodology in your mind. Even if you will adopt only one thing to start with, reviewing the test first or coming prepared, etc., you will gain all the benefits. The more you will adopt, the more you will gain the benefits. And clean code leaves me time for a happy hour. And we all agree about that. There is nothing better than that. So thank you for joining me.